Hey everyone, welcome back to Miss Cáceres English class. So as usual, just a friendly reminder, always do your heading, write your name, your date, your grade, and your section. Our objective for today is to analyze elements of myth, and our I can statement is to recognize multiple themes in a story. So today we begin a new story in Unit 1. It's called The Flight of Icarus. It is a myth retold by Sally Benson. Our essential question, as I mentioned before, in each unit is always going to be the same. So it remains being what helps people rise up to face difficulties. So the first thing we have is a quick start activity, which I'd like you guys to either do in your notebook. You can do it in block paper, a Word document, however you feel more comfortable about it. And for this quick start activity, I need you guys to describe an experience in which you wish you had acted differently. What should you have done instead? What did you learn from that experience? So take your time and write about that. Maybe somewhere between 4 and 6 lines, a little short paragraph explaining that for us. Or if you want to go a little longer than that, you can do that as well. The first thing that we're going to focus on today is how to analyze the genre of this story, which is a myth. A myth is an old and traditional story that tries to answer basic questions about the origins of the world, events in nature, human life, and social customs. Now, the genre itself has very specific elements. First of all, it has characters who have special abilities or gods or goddesses. It is set in ancient times. It includes events that could not happen in real life. And it often tells a story that teaches a lesson relating to a cultural value. Now, most myths share these elements as well. Gods and other supernatural beings with special powers, unrealistic supernatural events and settings, and a lesson about life or human behavior. Myths can tell exciting action-packed stories. Many myths also suggest values, for example, honesty, cleverness, or moderation, acting within responsible limits, that are very important to culture, or to a culture specifically. In the past, in fact, myths often were used to encourage people to act in a way that reflected these values and helped society to function properly. So I thought that if we watched a video on what a myth is, this might help you understand a little more depth into the topic. So, what is a myth? A myth is a part of genre of fiction that's called folklore. It is a traditional story designed to explain the early history of a group of people or to describe a natural phenomenon. The authors of myths are typically unknown, which means we don't know who they are. See this little guy here? Have you ever heard the story of how a leopard got its spots? Do you know that there are different types of myths as well? They include creation myths, which describe how the earth or a group of people came to be. Nature myths as well. These are the ones that describe why something in nature is the way it is. We also have what we call hero myths, which describe the quest of a hero or a heroine. And last but not least, we have gods myths as well, which is Greek and Roman gods. These describe the actions of gods and goddesses, like the story of Icarus. The story of this little guy here tells you how he got his spots. That's a nature myth. Now, the purpose of myths include the following: to explain how something came to be, to teach a moral lesson, to explain a historical event, to reveal common hopes and feelings. If it weren't for myths, this little guy wouldn't know how he got his spots. Now, another important thing about myths are the characteristics that go into that. Some of them that are most common are gods and goddesses who interact with humans, gods and goddesses in disguise. They reflect on the characteristics of the culture that created them, magical or supernatural explanation for events, and of course, characters experience a transformation or a change, like this little guy. All it took was a touch of magic for him to get his spots so he could blend in with the others in the forest. So that's a little more info on myths. I hope that cleared up any questions you guys might have. Also, we're going to be focusing on how to determine themes in stories. And you might be asking yourself, well, Ms. Cáceres, I forgot what a theme is. Well, a theme is a message about life or human nature that a writer shares with their readers. An example of a theme might be greed can lead to ruined lives, or the simple things in life are the most meaningful. Writers sometimes state them directly for us, but more often than not, you must analyze story events and characters' actions to infer or to make a logical guess about the theme of a story. Myths often contain more than one theme. These themes can reflect the cultural values of a society in which the myth was told. By analyzing the behavior of mythic characters in unusual situations, you can learn lessons about the traits that matter to that culture. So think about these questions as you try to determine the life lesson or the big idea that is the themes in a myth. So the first question you would ask yourself would be, what do the characters want? The second question would be, what do the characters do to reach their goals? And the last question would be, how well do they succeed and why do they succeed? So I found this really interesting video on flowvocabulary.com, and it's a song about the theme in literature. So really pay attention because it's really interesting the way it's described here. So really pay attention and take some notes if you guys want on details about it.
It was an ice-cold evening in the city that never sleeps. Criminals stalked the streets, and everywhere you looked, it was a war of good versus evil. Will there be a hero to come save the city? Someone on a mission for justice? Stay tuned to find out what the theme is.
Yeah, we've got some knowledge you can get right here. We're talking about a theme or a big idea. It's a message about life the author is expressing. So here's an example for anyone with questions. Excessive pride leads to a person's demise. Now a few more themes you can try and emphasize. In The Little Prince, I won't keep you guessing. Relationships teach you important lessons. And in Tuck Everlasting, there's that death is a part of the life cycle. Do you get it yet? Many different stories have themes that they share. It could be in this book and that book over there. Like in Alice in Wonderland and The Little Prince. Do you know what a theme that they share is? It's that in childhood you're open-minded and you know things that adults lose sight of. Don't confuse theme with the main idea though. So just in case, let me break it down for you real slow. Main idea is what a text is about mostly, while the theme is more sweeping, so you've gotta read closely. Every story has a theme, a universal concept, if you know what I mean. Theme in every story has a theme. Just below the surface, running through it like a stream. Every story has a theme, a universal concept, if you know what I mean. Theme in every story has a theme. Just below the surface, running through it like a stream. Now a writer won't come right out and say what the theme is, but with the character and plot, you don't need to be a genius. Take Batman, aka Bruce Wayne the billionaire, the moonlighting crime fighter who all of the villains fear.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, a truly diabolical one comes into town,
right,
and really puts Batman to the test. The Joker, the Penguin, the Scarecrow, you can guess that
what?
Every time without fail, it's the good guy, Batman, who prevails.
So what's the theme?
Think about the plot and the characters, heroes, villains.
I see the theme.
Yup, there it is. Good triumphs over evil. Let's do another, cause a text can have more than one theme to discover. Bruce Wayne's a jerk, but Batman's a good guy. So another theme is there's more than meets the eye. Every story has a theme, a universal concept, if you know what I mean. Theme in every story has a theme. Just below the surface, running through it like a stream. Every story has a theme, a universal concept, if you know what I mean. Theme in every story has a theme. Just below the surface, running through it like a stream.
And here we are. This story has many themes, as you can tell. There's always a theme to everything you read, everything you see. Make sure you dig deep. Your story has a theme too. Every story has a theme.
All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did sharing it with you. And you know, you guys have to be your own detectives when it comes to that. Okay, so one more thing, our critical vocabulary. Make sure you go through each word and you fill in each space that you have here. We've done this before, so it should be easy for you to do. That's it for me today, guys. Have a good day. Take care. Bye.